Now, before we get to coding any of the really fun stuff, how making the chat work and everything, we need to make a custom error handler. First of all, because it's cool to learn how to make a custom error handler because that way you don't have to rely on, whatever PHP gives you. And another thing is that inevitably we're gonna get some errors whenever we're creating this program. So it's better to handle them first before you start, typing any code rather than, dealing with them later. So let's go ahead and take care of this one boring file first, which is actually a pretty cool file. And then in the next video, we're gonna be getting to the real good stuff. So this is how you create a custom error handler. Go ahead and make your PHP tags. Now there's a built-in function in PHP that's called set error handler. How creative of a name, right? Now in this function, it takes two parameters. The first one is what is your function going to be called? It pretty much allows you to set a user-defined error handler function. So later on, we're going to be creating a function called Bucky error handler, and this is the function that's going to be responsible for handling any mistakes that we get with our code. And the next parameter is all, and don't worry about that right now. It's just housekeeping. You can either, it pretty much says what errors do you want to handle, and you can set this to strict, but just set it to all for now. It's not really important. The important part is this is how you make a custom error handler, or tell PHP whenever we get an error in our code, we don't want you to, handle the errors for us. We're going to be making our own error handler. So now let's go ahead and do that. So we said our function was going to be named Bucky error handler. And now what we can do is we can pass it in a couple pieces of information. So whenever we get an error in our program, what information do we want to output to the user? Where the first thing that we can have is just a number that says, how, like whenever you're running a program and each error message has an error number, so the developer can tell where the error is coming from, basically. That's what this is going to be. The next parameter is just a text that says like you missed a semicolon or cannot connect to database or something like that. So that's a little text or the message. The next one is the file, and what this tells is basically what file are you getting the error from. And of course, to narrow it down so we don't have to go looking through the entire file, let's go ahead and output the line which says this is the error, or this is the line number that the error is occurring on. So those are the pieces of information. So now, whenever we get an error in our program, we know exactly where the error is coming from, what file, what line number, and also a little message saying what exactly the error is. Pretty freaking cool. So the first thing we have to do to make this program work is we want to do a little housekeeping, and that is get length of the output buffer. Now, well, let me go ahead and code this first and then. Now, what this basically means right here is we want to clear the output buffer if the output buffer has anything in it already. So what we're going to do is we're pretty much going to say, okay, if your output buffer get length is equal to anything, then it's going to be true. So that means if there is something in your output buffer, then go ahead and clean it. And this is just housekeeping to, pretty much start everything from new. So now that we did all the little housekeeping stuff, we can go ahead and build the error message or the text that's going to display. So let's go ahead and store this in variable error message. And the first thing we want to display is, and we're pretty much going to display all of these things right here. So error number of your error and CHR 10. Now, you guys may be saying, okay, so this is text that's going to display, and this is, whatever number we passed in. But what the heck is this CHR10? What this means is it's a special symbol that PHP understands. The only two that I know of actually are CHR13, which means move the cursor. It's kind of like move it to the left, like you're typing on a typewriter. I know that's kind of like an old analogy, but CHR10 means go to a new line. So move the cursor down one line. So now each of our messages are going to be on a new line. I think it's just a little bit easier to read that way. So we can actually go ahead and copy this, save us some time. So you got error, which says your error number, the message, which is just the text, and you guys can probably see where I'm going with this. Now the next one is the file that the bug occurred on, and we're going to be passing it in the file. Now for the last one, what we want to do is we want to output the line number. So the line number, we can say what line did it occur on, and you actually don't need this return for the last one because, you know, you don't need to go to a new line. Now what we did is we built the format that the error message is going to display on, and we actually built the entire error message. However, if you noticed, we didn't display it or print it out on the screen yet. So now all I have to do that is echo this bad boy out. So echo error message, and that pretty much, you know, of course, you know, prints it out on the screen, and exit. So boom, roasted. Check it out. Save this file, and all of the boring stuff is taken care of. Congratulations, you built your database, you added the table, we built our own custom error handler. By the way, this is actually really cool. I know I said it was boring, but this is actually a really cool feature that anytime you want to build your own custom error handler, this is how you do it. Now you know. So in the next video, we're going to be getting into the really awesome good stuff, getting our hands dirty, filling our brains of awesome knowledge, learning how to create the actual AJAX chat program. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. And by the way, check out my new social network built especially for programmers, buckysroom.com. Boom roasted. I'll see you guys in the next video.